Hi, everyone. It's John Galante with A Ventures, and we're here with another one of our Bull Sessions. Remember, Bull Sessions are these spontaneous, spirited discussions with experts that are freewheeling, contentious, creative.
Looks at me right there.
I can't.
You. Absolutely. That's good.
We have a great panel here. We have Taylor Wiederkehr with PropTech IQ. Did I get that right?
Close.
Okay.
Taylor Wiederkehr. Close.
Wiederkehr?
Yeah,
I'm never good with the IE
okay.
or the
It's okay.
I'm sorry, Wiederkehr.
all
I've been
good.
calling you Wiederkehr for a long time.
I'll just call you Galante instead of Galante.
It's better than Galante.
That's fair. That's fair.
Michael Branam with PointCentral, head guy on sales and other stuff and planning and product development and whatever you're.
All the things.
You're the guy on multifamily as far as I'm concerned. And then the great Kelly Cox with ADT, who's the ingenue of ADT and their builder programs and multifamily stuff and whatever special market stuff.
Whatever they throw me into.
She does it with a smile and with a lot of smarts and enthusiasm. So, great panel. Here's the discussion. Jump ball. Ancillary revenue in the multifamily world. So I'm excited because I have been trying to talk to the single family world about all these attachment revenue opportunities. Oh, yeah. And then I started poking around in multifamily, and I understand that ancillary revenue is a developed concept.
It is.
With people who are charged with developing ancillary revenue in the multifamily world.
Absolutely.
Which is really exciting to learn. And you're part of the reason why I found out about this, and I'm sure these folks are also involved in various ancillary revenue streams. So, but we're going to start with you, Wiederkehr.
Cool, yeah, you're good, man.
Mr. Wiederkehr.
Appreciate it.
With, just give us a definition of ancillary and your experience with it, from the dark side when you were part of a multifamily companies as well.
Yeah. So essentially, most of the NMHC top 50, they all have dedicated ancillary revenue departments at this point. And really,
departments, not just somebody that's got a fraction of their time.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, and they get bigger as the companies get bigger, right? Greystar has a gigantic department that focuses just on that one thing. But as you get smaller and smaller, of course, they do have one-man teams. But the fact is, they have a team at all. Because it's really a gigantic opportunity, and it touches a lot of these technologies that PointCentral really started in the vacation rental, and that has come into the multifamily arena as an actual ancillary revenue opportunity, primarily from the hotel perspective, right? Mm-hmm. Being able to provide an amenity on site with your pre-existing square footage, but turning that into something that's leasable short term,
right?
That goes into a different column. You know what I mean? That's a different application of the technology. So ultimately, we're in the kind of boom right now of opportunity in creating revenue streams. Absolutely.
Really, as in in the last couple years or the last 6 months or what?
I'd say really, let's see, if I had to put a timeline, probably the last decade. It's really been growing because things
I've been asleep at the switch.
Well, no. So you're probably really familiar with things like valet trash, right? That's been around a long time. It's really
I'm not familiar with valet trash.
Okay, so valet trash.
Are you familiar with valet trash?
I was going to say that was one of the
multifamily basics.
Absolutely.
That's one of those hard rock bands, valet trash. Is your son playing in valet trash?
Possibly.
But it is really a great opportunity. Valet trash being something as simple as putting a trash can and picking it up every night outside your door instead of letting the resident take that to the dumpster, and they can charge an extra $35 to $50 a month, and the resident pays it happily because they don't have to walk their trash down to the dumpster.
Spoiled brats.
Absolutely. But telling you, spoiled brats, it's that lifestyle expectation that residents are growing to really, really accustomed to nowadays.
Well, you could talk nonstop.
I can.
Let's get some others in on this. What's your experience? And I do like the angle of technology enables ancillary, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's kind of the common thread of ancillary revenue through growth, rent growth, and that's sort of a hot topic right now, given affordability issues that exist. But there's also ancillary revenue through efficiencies.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's where tech-enabled environments come in as well. Smart thermostats are an easy one, but I think when we start unifying technologies and streamlining technologies, some of these ancillary teams that you're you spoke well to. They're not just looking to say, hey, if we add $50, let's do the math. This is what our growth is. It's, hey, if we subtract $25 from, energy consumption, water savings, if we unify our tech stack and start realizing that, hey, these 9 different services, actually there's 1 or 2 companies that do all of the things. So, ancillary can actually grow just through general efficiencies as well.
Absolutely.
And I think real world examples of that, like what Mike's saying specifically, is how do they generate income and how do they cut cost? A real life example of this is a resident having smart technology in the home or in the unit, the resident being charged a technology fee for that. It's going to benefit the resident. It's going to benefit the property management staff because they're able to manage that site, that unit, or that building, that community at the touch of a button, right? With that back-end software that everything is automated. AI plays a big piece into this.
Right.
But like Mike said, also energy savings. So when a unit is vacant, being able to set scenes where the energy cost is saved by putting regulations on the thermostat, controlling who's in and out of the house, and saving not only on the energy costs, but for squatters and rental fraud. So this isn't only about like, how are we going to charge this resident $50 more, but how are we going to turn this unit faster, get a renter in here right away, and save on energy costs and from losing this unit to a squatter or rental fraud.
Cool. So OpEx kind of figures into ancillary revenue.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's all about cash flow.
So back to the valet garbage, because garbage is a big topic in the United States right now.
It is indeed. On the day of, too.
Yeah, the day. So do they put the garbage outside the door, or do you need the keyless lock to get to the garbage?
No, so in that scenario, really, it's just the resident puts it outside the door. But
it would be better if there was a keyless lock involved in that, wouldn't it?
It kind of makes
Wouldn't that
me
be
think.
cleaner for everybody and to put
Makes you think of
garbage
Amazon
out in the
delivery.
hall,
For real.
right? And what about like things like, so tech-enabled with the portal, right? And then we've got like pet sitting services and housekeeping services. Well, is the access control piece figuring into this as well?
Absolutely. So I think that's really where, how do we enable these types of ancillary opportunities, such as services, right? So that's what you're really talking about. House cleanings, dog walkings. And really, those are more, I would say, possible than not if they're leveraging a digital entry system instead of something that's going to take, physical keys having to be passed back and forth.
Yeah. I'm
audit
hearing like
trails
the
very
pet
important.
sitting thing, there's like 12 specialized vendors in pet sitting services for the
Absolutely.
multifamily industry.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But it's also saving cost on having to re-key locks and having to keep track of key fobs to get access to pools and community centers and amenity centers. The tenants have the ability to utilize the same technology in the palm of their hand on our phones. We're all using our phones. That same technology is utilized to access their unit as the amenity center, the gym, the pool, and community areas.
Absolutely.
It's a huge money saver for them.
Like groceries too. I mean, not to get off on the tangent of how expensive those are, but just think about how much time it takes to go grocery shopping, and having something as simple as someone being able to come into your house, get access with your permission because you've gone into this system, you've assigned them a code, you know exactly when they can and
put
can't
it in
go,
your refrigerator?
and they put it in your refrigerator.
And that's happening?
That is happening every single day in the United States.
So I think tech has been the great enabler.
It has,
Really,
absolutely.
because these services don't exist without those types of access solutions that don't just exist at the unit door, but they also, I've been to some fairly complex multifamily environments where it's, and I'll date myself, but there's a show, Get Smart, by Maxwell Smart, and he had to pass through 9 or so different doors, different types of doors. I was a Nick at Night kind of kid. Hey, man. But, he had to pass through a
saw
number.
the original.
But he had to pass through a number of different doors to get to sort of the end spot, right? And right now in multifamily, there are different access points that, before it's like, hey, could DoorDash come and drop off groceries or Uber Eats? Yeah, but how do we get them through these 3 or 4 different access points and make sure they also don't access other parts of the building? In fact, it does that now. It's actually
The great enabler is what I heard. That's nice. That's a nice moniker. Yeah, so like all these services that we want, but we also want security. Because we may not know everybody, and we may not trust them to stay out of our jewelry box in the bedroom, and like we've if we have the security piece attached to these services, there's a lot more comfort with it, right? And it could be more convenience.
Absolutely. And the good thing is there are companies out there that will actually go into the market, not to name drop any companies specifically, but they will actually go into the market. They will create the relationships with the dog walkers, the yoga instructors. I mean, they do all kinds of things, but ultimately they bring those services to the building with credibility, insurance behind it, making sure everybody's been background checked. So not only are you leveraging the audit trail, but also the services component as well can be offloaded from the owner operator.
And they're not doing this in master plan communities, at community, single family communities. Is this not happening there?
I think it depends on the type of community. Like the 55 and older.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely. And that's been happening like for a decade in the 55 and older communities, is bringing those services, those professionals to the community to help the residents in that community.
Absolutely.
It is happening.
Absolutely.
There's ancillary revenue being generated through the HOAs, or HOA is part of your turf, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Or is it through, or the
I do it
builder?
all.
Sometimes, what don't you do? So what other really cool categories are there, like trash concierge? And come on, I like these monikers too.
I mean, there's things like, package delivery. That's another one that's been out for a long time, but that is technically an opportunity to generate revenue, whether it's package locker systems that are, generating revenue based on when people are grabbing their packages and stuff, which I'm not a big proponent of personally, but it is out there. It's been deployed at scale. And then the other side of it is similarly valet package delivery, where someone actually brings you the package when you're actually home. So if Amazon delivers it, instead of delivering it to, your door, which is maybe in a breezeway, or, you're not home, they deliver it to a warehouse instead. And then you use the app to tell that person, hey, I'm home at 7. And that's when they bring the package
And
to you.
DoorDash and Uber Eats, is there something there or not?
Well, so there definitely is. There are opportunities with communities nowadays. I'm sure you guys have seen a lot where the communities will negotiate local deals in their surrounding areas and ultimately leverage the technologies to communicate those deals. And of course, they partake in revenue share on the back end.
But then there's an access control piece, right? Because you don't know where you want these people in the building, and everything can't come to the front desk, or the front desk you can't see the concierge because the pile's too big there, or that's, so are you working through those sorts of scenarios?
There's a solution to that.
There's a solution for that, absolutely. I think you said something interesting. You said security, and I think safety and security sort of go hand in hand here. And when we look at access control, there's this dynamic where, tech without security or safety, sort of gets shoulders up into people's ears. They get very nervous, right? So when you have this concept of, hey, not only will we have physical security at a location, there is ID verification. There are time-based codes that can provide alerts to residents and or staff to ensure when somebody entered and when somebody left.
Yeah.
So that creates more peace of mind, that opens up opportunity for these types of services to even exist, right? So if we're reluctant folks that are like, I don't know about that. That's my dog that I'm providing access for. Well, now when Spot came and went, and now things are a little bit more settled, I think, for people that are adopting those types of services.
So what about the identity verification piece, right? Which is part of self-guided tours, et cetera. I mean, what are you guys tapping into?
Absolutely.
Background databases?
Not
on this stuff or
ADT,
not?
but we work
Do you have
with
service providers?
We work with partners that do that, right? So with the old ID verification, you just took a picture of your ID and you sent it off, and they hoped that because they got a picture of an ID, this is the right person. It's so far beyond that now, especially with AI, right? Like with ID verification now, you take a photo of the front and back of your driver's license. You have to take a 3D image, so the front of your face and each side, so that they know that your image on your ID matches the image that you're taking, and that your phone you're registering with, based on geofencing, that when it's close to the home, that it's verifying that this is the phone that registered, it's now close to the home, now you have access to tour the home.
Cool. Do you think consumers know about all of that stuff in the background?
I think that, our partners know, so our owners, operators, property managers know.
I think it's important to make this distinction. Good technology, you should never recognize it's there.
Yeah.
If you recognize it's there, then that means it's causing friction.
Yeah, I just think that on the identity verification piece, that a little bit of an explanation on what's in the background on that.
Well, on the data privacy, right? We're seeing that a lot today, it all over the country with companies and use cases for AI, the data privacy that ties into that. No one wants their data just out there floating around for anyone to utilize, right? And for anyone to capture and monetize that information. So working with partners that have strong data privacy policies and safeguards and rails in place to protect that.
Wow. And you guys are brokering that to some extent.
We are.
You're partnering with the right parties?
That's exactly it. We're partnering with the right parties, like PointCentral. We're aligned with, these are the guardrails for data privacy. This is how the information is going to be used and not monetized.
Yeah.
Well, we have that through our self-guided tour platform, where ID verification, the prospective resident has an option, either ID verification, credit card verification, or the property owner can assume both. They can sort of implement both. And I think when you're a self-guided tour prospect, you're sort of in exchange for saying, okay, I want to go on this tour without the accompaniment of a leasing agent, then I'm going to take this picture because they're not going to let me in if I don't.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Very cool. I think we could go on, but we've captured a nice little ingot and some really key principles here about the marrying of the security with the technology that creates the access and these opportunities. And I'm so excited to give me a bottom line this for me, for a bigger operator, what kinds of percentages on top of standard, more traditional revenues are starting to be realized on ancillary? I assume it's growing.
It is.
Because there's a lot of opportunity there.
Absolutely. Today, I'd say it's around the 10 to 20%
Really?
of what you're charging in rent you can be making in ancillary revenue. And I believe, it's been my prediction for years, and we've seen this trend. We're moving towards that percentage getting larger and larger because owners, they have this opportunity with an audience. Yeah. And when they control that audience, which they're now better understanding what that means, they can create more opportunities to provide a lifestyle and make money.
I like to say that builders and multifamily companies need to think of themselves like media companies, right? They have foot traffic, they have eyeballs that can absolutely be monetized. And they have a lot of information about what these people like to buy and what they'd be inclined to buy additionally, and they have to deal with the privacy side of that. That's an interesting question for more exploration, but I really appreciate you all helping open up this topic for us, and I think it's good for multifamily and for single family. Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks, John.
Thanks for having us.
Another bull session in the can.